On January 26, 2011, 27-year-old Ellen Greenberg's parents, Josh and Sandy, got the call that is every parent's worst nightmare. Their beautiful daughter, a young school teacher, was dead. Ellen was found in her kitchen. She had been brutally stabbed 20 times. 10 of her wounds were to the back of her neck and head. Shockingly, her death was ruled a suicide. For years, Josh and Sandy Greenberg have been fighting to change Ellen's cause of death from suicide to undetermined and to reopen the case. They filed lawsuits, hired experts, and poured their own money into forensic testing that they say law enforcement refused to do. In early 2025, the medical examiner who originally ruled the death a suicide signed an affidavit stating he no longer believes the evidence supports the original suicide finding. For a moment, there was fleeting hope. But this month, an independent review by the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office shattered that hope when they reaffirmed the ruling that Ellen's death was a suicide. Now, Ellen's parents join us today, along with my good friend, Nancy Grace, host of Crime Stories and the author of What Happened to Ellen? An American Miscarriage of Justice. So welcome to all three of you. Sandy and Josh, what was your reaction to hearing that this report shockingly once again ruled your daughter's death a suicide?
Well, of course, I was devastated, but I never expected her to rule suicide when she was asked to review this. We're calling it independent, but I don't really know how independent because there's so much incest in Philadelphia. I'm very disappointed.
You say it's incestuous up there, but do you have any theory as to why they would be leaning into this suicide finding?
Yes.
when
there's corruption.
No, that's not the answer.
There's politics.
That's not the answer. The answer is they're afraid of being sued if they change it. During the negotiations into our agreement, that's what they said. They were afraid of being sued. They didn't say anything about Ellen. They didn't say anything that she's, the truth is not about this. They are afraid of if they change it to undecided or homicide, they will be sued.
And sued by who?
I don't know the answer to that.
Other victims and victims' families.
I don't know the answer.
Okay. Nancy, thank you for joining us. It's so good to see you. You've been on such a deep dive into this tragic and horrific loss. And I know you've put resources into this. You've written about this. You've done multiple shows about this. What is your theory about why this is being ruled a suicide in the face of what seems to be, I'm no medical examiner, but commonsensically, this seems to be such an unusual finding that's been challenged by some of the most noted pathologists on the planet.
Technical legal term, Dr. Phil, BS. You don't have to go to law school to understand that. You asked Josh and Sandy, why would they be leaning into a clearly arbitrary decision that a young woman who was stabbed, now we know, 23 times, much to the back and the back of the head, why they would rule that suicide? Well, I can tell you this. The governor of the state of Pennsylvania was the attorney general in the state at the time all of this was bubbling up. He came from this office. Now, how would it look? He had one toe in the Oval Office. I'm talking about Josh Shapiro, and I'm calling him out. He had one toe in the Oval Office, potentially on the VP slot when Harris was running for president. How would he like it next time go around when maybe he wants to run for something? That this comes back up. Ellen Greenberg from beyond the grave grabbing him by the throat and pulling him under because I believe there is corruption, and he was there when it was going down. He rubber stamped it then, and he'll rubber stamp it now just to keep it quiet. And Sandy said it right. When this was called an independent review, what? This doctor was in the Philly medical examiner's office when the first autopsy was done and was botched. So what do you think she's going to do? Say, oh, my then boss and all of my colleagues were wrong and we went along with it? HELLNO? Not going to happen. We need the feds in, simply put.
I want to go back and go over this case a little bit in case anybody has not heard about this, so they know the facts of this case. On January 26th of 2011, Ellen was stabbed 20 times. We now know 23 times because 3 other wounds have been identified. 10 in the back and the neck. One wound was so deep that it pierced the heart. And she was found in her Philadelphia apartment at the time by her then fiancé, who was returning from the gym during a snowstorm, a gym in the apartment building there. And the report is that the apartment door was locked with a swing bar latch from the inside, and that he had to break it to get in, and that her body was found on the kitchen floor, and that there was a serrated knife lodged in her chest, and that she had these 23 stab wounds. And if we can put that graphic back up, when I saw this, I had a immediate reaction that first, I've been doing this for almost 50 years. I've studied, researched data, and actually worked with so many women that had suicidal ideation attempts in history. And I looked at this and thought, okay, I don't know how a person could physically stab themselves in this way and get the knife into places that these wounds occurred. And I certainly know that this is not something that women are likely to do. There are other ways to kill themselves. This is so rare for a woman to choose this method of ending their own life. Josh, you said you had a different answer. What is your answer?
My answer goes back to the beginning. We hired Cyril Wecht. If you're in this field, you know the name, you know who the authority is. And Dr. Wecht immediately said women don't stab themselves. Number 2, another forensic pathologist says women, suicidal people, don't stab themselves in the back. So there is really no need to go into this whole thing about Ellen committing suicide because it's bogus. Then if you want to interview her psychiatrist will tell you she's not suicidal, which makes it even more bogus. This medical examiner has done nothing but raise more questions than answers. And the city of Philadelphia is probably spinning their wheels and saying, what did we do here? We wanted to end this, and all we did is we stirred it up.
Well, I've worked with Dr. Wecht a number of times over the years. I know Nancy has as well. He calls it as he sees it. He doesn't care one way or the other who's on the other side. He's scientific. He always was. That's just how he did things. And I don't know how many thousands of these things that he's done. I know he didn't examine the body, but I know he looked at every piece of evidence available from the medical examiner's file, and he said this was not a suicide, plain and simple. Absolutely ruled it out.
Well, he sort of covers his answer by saying suspicious of homicide. He doesn't want to say homicide because of dealing with the law. But if you look at those wounds, how many of those wounds are lethal? How many are deep? Not many, not any. I mean, the only 3 wounds that are deep: the back of the neck, the chest, and that's it. And she has the gash on her head. So if we were to wipe out all those wounds, what are we left with? We're left with marks of strangulation on Ellen's neck. We would mark on her wrist being irritated from being with strain. And we have the head wound and the 3 knife wounds.
And we have a knife block on its sign, which is a sign of a struggle, with two knives that have fallen out of the knife block in the sink.
So Sandy's bringing this up because the police said these things don't, we've been looking at the wrong thing. We've been looking at a cover-up. The cover-up is these stupid 20 knife wounds. They're not lethal. Nobody's going to die from these wounds. Even you or I, we would have missed them today. They might hurt. And they're also, you bring up a very salient point, they're very difficult to perform. How is she going to get her hands in the back of her neck and the back there to administer those 10 wounds?
So it was a staged crime scene.
No, that's not what this is. This is a cover-up. The crime scene was staged is another fact because Ellen, if you listen to Sam talking the 911 call, he specifically mentions that she's lying on the floor.
On her back.
On her back. When the door is open, she's propped up against a cabinet. And we have what Nancy likes to call wrong way blood.
Yes, Dr. Phil, I mean, you don't have to be a medical examiner to be familiar with Isaac Newton, right? The renowned scientist came up with gravity, the theory of gravity. Ellen was found sitting on the kitchen floor, her back against the kitchen cabinets, her legs splayed out in front of her. And what Josh is referring to is the wrong way blood. Blood had dried, Dr. Phil, dried. There had been time enough for the blood to trickle and dry going from the nose to the ear, contrary to the rules of gravity and Sir Isaac Newton. I mean, it's ridiculous. The scene was clearly tampered with.
Up next, they concluded that there were no defensive wounds, and you're saying that that doesn't appear to be the case.
That is not the case.
Ever feel like your tank's running on empty no matter how much sleep you get or how healthy you eat? Sometimes your body is simply missing what it needs to recharge. That's why I trust Magnesium Breakthrough from Bioptimizers. It delivers 7 forms of magnesium plus vitamin B6 and humic and fulvic acids to help your body absorb and use it efficiently. Magnesium plays a vital role in helping your body relax, recharge, and recover. This formula helps support calm focus, deeper rest, muscle recovery, and overall well-being without artificial colors, preservatives, gluten, or soy. You can feel the difference when your body gets what it needs. So if you want to sleep soundly, stay centered, and power through your day, visit bioptimizers.com/Dr. Phil and give it a try, because real balance starts from the inside out.
When Josh mentioned bruising, there were over 30 bruises to her body. And guess what? This new doctor attributed that to her first graders, her role as a first grade teacher. What? The students' mob attacked her and covered her in bruises. Many of them were in states of resolution. They were healing. But what concerns me the most is the bruising, and they are fingertip bruises. I've prosecuted enough homicide cases to know what that means. You can clearly see a fingerprint bruising pattern at her neck and on her wrists. And in the original autopsy report, it was stated that these bruises were not connected to the stabs. In other words, they weren't the result of stabbing, like a knife hilt leaving a bruise.
Right.
She was absolutely strangled to be subdued and subdued at the wrist. She did not do that to herself.
No.
Well, they concluded that there were no defensive wounds, and you're saying that that doesn't appear to be the case.
That is not the case. There are defensive wounds.
Yes.
Also, what about the
see
big
it, Phil?
gash on the top
You
of
can
her head?
see it.
That's not a suicide wound.
Okay, well, that's something that we need to talk about. This month, more than 14 years after Ellen Greenberg was found stabbed 20 times, actually 23, in her Philadelphia apartment, her case was re-examined once again, this time by the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office under Chief Medical Examiner Lindsay Simon. After months of review, the office just issued a new 32-page report and once again ruled Ellen's death a suicide. So I want to dive into this report a bit and talk about what some of the bullets are. Now, the report acknowledged that the wound distribution was admittedly unusual. Number one, less than 1% of women historically that die by suicide use stabbing themselves as the method of taking their own life. So that's unusual. The distribution that you see here, I think, is beyond bizarre. And I'm not sure it's even possible to get a knife into some of the locations where these stab wounds are in the back of the neck. And I'm not sure that some of these stab wounds in and around the spinal cord in the back would not incapacitate an individual to the point that they couldn't inflict any additional wounds. But we'll talk about that in a minute. It also said that Ellen was capable of inflicting the injuries herself, which, as I just said, I'm not sure that others would agree with that. The chief medical examiner found no evidence of a struggle or an intruder. The chief medical examiner found no defensive wounds to suggest a struggle, and the parents say that's maybe because Ellen never had a chance to fight, because it may well have been an unexpected and sneak attack, but yet there is evidence of 30 bruises on her body, and they're at different stages of resolution, so who knows where they came from or if this was an ongoing situation. We just don't know. And I do need to say, no one, not the fiancé at the time or anyone else, has been named as even a person of interest, let alone a suspect. The report notes that Ellen was receiving psychiatric care for anxiety and had increased energy, per the report, to act on anxious thoughts, and was under work stress related to grades that she needed to submit. These factors were used to support the suicide ruling. And in months before.
Dr. Phil,
Yes, go ahead, jump in.
when a medical examiner is making a psychological determination, one of the things they do is they consult with a psychiatrist. She does not have a psychiatric degree, and she never spoke to Dr. Berman. So when did she become someone that is getting into our daughter's head 14 and a half years later?
Let's look at all these things. Number one, Dr. Berman, the psychiatrist, said Ellen was not suicidal. Dr. Two, diagnosis of anxiety. People don't kill themselves over anxiety. Number three, the wounds aren't deep enough to be lethal. They're like just intestinal wounds. Number four, there are other wounds that are significantly more important to look at. The medical examiner we looked at four things the other night with News Nation, and she talked about anxiety being a motive for suicide. She's wrong. She's just flat out wrong. This lady has done nothing but stir the waters, so the city has more problems to explain. There is no evidence to support the suicide. There's evidence to support that Ellen was injured, that she was attacked, but not that. Let's
And
cover
I'd like to clarify something, Josh.
Right.
When we heard Dr. Phil correctly say she was working on grades, and it makes
Okay.
it sound so stressful. We're not talking about Harvard Law Review. She was a first grade teacher. I was a teacher too while waiting to get in law school. She was just filling out the grades. That
She was
is
lying.
not something you're going to kill
Ellen was
yourself
lying.
over.
She had no stress from the school.
In the months before her death, she had been seeing a psychiatrist, correct?
Correct.
And the psychiatrist had put her on medication for anxiety and depression, correct?
No, anxiety.
The record shows that she was taking medication for both, that she was on medication for anxiety and depression. I think she was taking Zoloft and one other.
Dr. Phil,
Klonopin.
in Dr. Berman's handwritten notes, it clearly says not suicidal.
Correct. She was taking Klonopin for anxiety and Zoloft for depression.
Not Zoloft, I'm pretty sure.
She
But
took,
I
she
could be
took
wrong.
it and she didn't like the way she felt.
So she stopped taking it.
And,
Okay.
and when all the toxicology came back
It was
and
normal.
the blood work, she kept a journal which is being withheld from us by the Pennsylvania, Philadelphia Police Department. And every amount of everything was perfect.
Okay, I want to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to ask you a series of questions that I think will be very enlightening for you and for everybody looking at this, because I think that this medical examiner is not an expert in psychology, psychiatry, or human functioning, and may not know what to look at here. But I think I can shed some light on this, and I want you guys to be objective about this. I've got some questions I want to ask you as soon as we come back from the break. Up next, what do you conclude from this, Nancy?
I've never seen a medical examiner state, oh yeah, and I watched the movie and got some of my opinions from that. Really?
Allergies can pop up anytime, and this year they're hitting harder and lasting longer than ever. That means restless nights, sneezing, coughing, and that miserable post-nasal drip that keeps you awake. But there is a solution: Sambrosa Night Syrup. It's made without dyes, synthetic colors, artificial flavors, or high fructose corn syrup. Just a base of nutrient-rich honey, 7 organic herbs, and a small dose of antihistamine that help you breathe easier and sleep deeply. It's soothing yet effective without the harsh side effects. So try it and get allergy relief to get your best night's sleep and wake up rested. Sambrosa Night Syrup is a balanced formula that ensures you wake up energized. Visit Sambrosa.com and use code Dr. Phil for 25% off your first order. With a 90-day guarantee, there's no reason for you not to get the help you need. That's Sambrosa.com, code Dr. Phil for 25% off. The questions that I have for the Greenbergs are these. And look, I didn't have the honor of knowing your daughter. From everything that I can learn about it, from having read Nancy's book, from meeting you guys before, I wish I had known Ellen, because she obviously was a delightful and talented young woman. My first question to you is, you want to know the truth. And there are red flags to those that take their lives by suicide. This doesn't happen in a vacuum. It doesn't come out of nowhere. And I've studied this for a long time, and I want to ask you some questions. Did Ellen have any history of self-harm before this tragic night? Did she have a history of...
On the contrary, she didn't like to have pain inflicted upon her. We had a whole thing about earrings and what do you do to earrings?
Ear piercing.
Piercing earrings. And she didn't want to do it because it hurt.
The next questions would be, did she have anxiety or depression?
No, she
No.
did not have depression, Dr. Phil.
Okay.
Only anxiety.
Okay, anxiety. And please know that 70% of people who attempt suicide or take their lives by suicide do have anxiety disorders. Now, having said that, let me say that the vast number of people that have anxiety never attempt suicide or never take their lives by suicide, but 70% of people that do end their lives by suicide have some sort of anxiety disorder. So it's not the same.
Can I make an answer?
Yes.
I sent Ellen to a medical doctor, a psychiatrist, who said she had anxiety, but she was not suicidal. I can't do anything more than that. I sent her
Right.
to the right person to make the diagnosis.
Okay. And you do agree that she had some degree of stress in her life?
We all do.
Of course. Did you ever hear any conversation from her that indicated her belief that she was a burden and that you would be better off if she was gone?
No,
No,
never.
Were there any prior suicidal attempts?
No,
Were there ever any conversations? Did she ever talk about ending her life?
no,
no.
never. Even during this, all she wanted to do was come home. And that's safety. Home is her safe haven.
Let me ask you a question. Does someone who's going to end their life go in a snowstorm to a gas station and fill their car up, not like 5 gallons, but over $40 worth of gas, come home and is found in her kitchen? What Jewish woman commits suicide in her kitchen? I mean, come on. The knife box turned over. She's making a fruit salad. If she was preparing to end her life, she wouldn't be making a fruit salad.
Did you notice that she was all of a sudden doing very high risk behaviors
No,
that would indicate that she didn't value her life
no,
the way she had in the past? Had you noticed that she was giving away really valuable possessions that were, even if they were sentimental value to her, that she was divesting herself of
Okay.
worldly things that she didn't value anymore?
No.
She was going to leave. She had all her makeup, her most important possessions, packed up on her bed to take with her. The only thing she was leaving was the engagement ring, which was on the night table. And I still don't understand why his family didn't take it home. But that was on the night table. But Ellen's possessions, her makeup, and there's nothing more. I didn't know this. Maybe you know this. When women buy makeup, they spend thousands of dollars. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And Ellen had spent thousands of dollars on lip gloss and all sorts of makeup. And she had it packed on her bed and ready to go with her. She was leaving the situation that day.
Had you seen any real downturn in grooming that would indicate
No.
hopelessness and despair?
No, you should see the pictures of her trying on wedding dresses. She looks adorable.
Yeah. Well, what you're describing is an overwhelming absence of red flags for those that have suicidal ideation or tend to take their lives, because people that are of that mindset have a prior history of attempted suicide. They have a prior history of self-harm. They tend to see themselves as a burden. They tend to talk about it. They tend to give away things that they previously valued. They don't have future-oriented behavior. Their grooming goes to hell in a handbasket. If you look at her behaviors, they certainly are not consistent with the red flag profiles that would tell me as a mental health professional that someone was at risk of taking their own life. You take that with the physical evidence, it just doesn't add up to me that this was a suicide. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. When you look at the photos from that kitchen, does Ellen's blood tell a story? And I think it does, and it's not the story police wrote down. So, Nancy, I want to talk about what you touched on briefly about the direction of the blood on Ellen's cheek and neck. What do you conclude from this, Nancy?
If I had a medical examiner and I had them on the stand and they relied on the Hulu documentary in their report, and the Hulu documentary was awesome, it was great, but I've never seen a medical examiner state, oh yeah, and I watched the movie and got some of my opinions from that. Really? Just complete unprofessionality. And also, I would again like to point out that this medical examiner, Dr. Lindsay Simon, was in the original medical examiner's office when this was botched the first time. The first time when Dr. Marlon Osborne said, this is a homicide, then had a closed door meeting with Philly PD and Philly district attorneys who got immunity. Well, I've never had immunity on one of my cases. Why does this female DA need immunity about this case?
Immunity from what?
That's what I'm saying. whatever happened in that meeting. And Dr. Osborne then later says under oath, and I put it, I didn't believe, I thought it was fantastical. So I put the actual document in the back of the book, says under oath, I was persuaded in the meeting to change my ruling. I've never seen a medical examiner change their ruling like this. Never. So then you have a woman, this doctor, Dr. Lindsay Simon, who was in the office when Marlon Osborne botched it. Now she's got it. Hell yes, they're going to stick with that ruling of suicide. She will do a contortion, a backflip to uphold the original ruling of suicide. Well, the second ruling. But I got a question for you, Dr. Phil. You've been asking all the questions. You know your beautiful young wife. Remember her?
I remember her.
How many times have you had to zip her zipper for her? Can you count them?
A million.
You can't zip your own zipper, but you want me to believe Ellen Greenberg stabbed herself in the back, including slicing her spine, her dura surrounding her spine, slicing it. And I have another medical examiner I consulted on this, Dr. Kendall Crowns, who says the one stab wound, you keep showing that diagram? One of those stab wounds to her behind her right ear went through the C1 and could have paralyzed her. Yet she kept stabbing herself? I'm supposed to believe that? She'd have to be Nadia Comaneci, an Olympic gymnast, to do this. Let's just start with that. And then, as Sandy said at the get-go, the incestuous nature of this, you've got the same medical examiner's office doing an independent review of themselves. Then you have the guy that was the attorney general who rubber stamped it. Now he's the governor. I mean, I'm floored. You asked me about the blood, and another thing I want you to think about, Dr. Phil, the blood, when they got there, the wrong way blood that dried the wrong way, it was already dried. The reason I keep saying that is it takes time for blood to trickle and then completely dry. So how long was Ellen lying there on the floor, and when was she propped up with the blood already dried? And I'd like to point out what was in her left hand, a pristine dish towel. So she stabbed herself all those times, yet held on to the dish towel? I've never heard anything so bizarre and anti-factual in my life. And everybody's sitting back taking it. Nobody's raising hell about it. Well, I am. And so is Sandy. And so is Josh.
In the days before she died, Ellen Greenberg's friends said she seemed tired, anxious, and unlike herself. She also told her parents she wanted to come home for a while. Her father said she sounded emotionally drained, like something was weighing on her, but she never said what. That troubled her parents. Something else gave them pause as well, and that's the 911 call that was made by Ellen's fiancé. Now, I want to say the 911 call was longer than what we're going to play. There are excerpts here. The entire call I'll put on the website so you can hear it, but listen to what I think are the essential parts of the call.
I need everything now. I just walked to my apartment. My fiance's on the floor with blood everywhere.
What is the address?
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please come help now.
4601
Flat Rock Road.
Is it the house or apartment?
Oh no! Oh no! It's an apartment.
What apartment number?
Please hurry, please.
Where is she bleeding from?
I don't know. I can't tell.
No. So you have to calm yourself down in order to get you some help.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm looking at her right now. I can't see anything. There's nothing broken. She's bleeding. Ellie!
You don't know where she's bleeding from? Can't tell where
Ellie!
the blood's coming from?
I think her head. I think she hit her head, but it's everywhere.
Okay,
It's everywhere.
She might have fallen. Do you know what happened?
She may have slipped. There's blood on the table. Her face is a little purple.
Okay, hold on for rescue for her. Stay on the phone.
Fire Department 842. What's the address? No,
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please hurry.
4601 Flat Rock?
Yes.
What's wrong?
I went downstairs to go work out. I came back up. The door was latched. My fiance's inside. She wasn't answering. So after about a half hour, I decided to break it down. I see her now just on the floor with blood. Like she's not responding.
Okay, is she breathing? Look at her chest. I need you to calm down, and I need you to look at her chest. It's really.
I really don't think she is.
Listen to me. Someone's on the way. Look at her chest. Is she flat on her back?
She's on her back. So I bring her.
Look at her chest and tell me if it's going up and down, up and down.
I don't see her moving.
Okay, do you know how to do CPR?
I don't.
Okay, I can tell you what to do, okay, until they get there. I want you to keep her flat on her.
God.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, okay.
Are you willing to do CPR with me over the phone until they get there?
I have to, right?
Okay, so get her flat on her back, bare her chest, okay? You want to rip her shirt off. Okay? You need to kneel down by her side.
Oh, my God. Ellie, please.
Listen, you can't freak out, sir, because you
Okay, I'm trying not. Her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. Oh, my God. She stabbed herself.
Where?
She fell with a knife. Oh, no. Her knife's sticking out.
What?
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
Oh, she stabbed herself?
I guess so. I don't know where she fell on it. I don't know.
Okay, well, don't touch it.
Okay, so I just let her down. Here now. I mean, what do I do?
No, I mean, you can't. If the knife is in her chest, it's going to be kind of hard for you to do CPR at this time.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness.
Josh, Sandy, any comments about the call?
It was crushing because when you think your fiance, who's the love of your life, you're going to have children with, says, "Are you willing to do CPR with me?" The 911 person said, and he said, "I guess I have to."
Right.
And to date, there's been no person of interest named. Her fiance is not a suspect. He's not been named as a person of interest. No one is pointing a finger at her fiance or anyone else in this case at this point. Is that correct?
Correct. We've only asked for an unbiased investigation led by an unbiased leader.
Someplace outside of the state of Pennsylvania.
My wife has added that now.
Okay. And Nancy, what do you think will happen in this case next?
You know, Dr. Phil, I was so elated along with Josh and Sandy when we were told that there would be an independent review. I don't know why I was so naive. I feel like I got kicked in the stomach all over again when this shot report came out, where the new medical examiner relied on the Hulu documentary and what other people said. It's so upsetting. It's a rubber stamp of a very wrong, and I would dare say corrupt decision to start with. And the only way out is to bring in the feds. I mean, the feds were in on Sean Diddy Combs, for Pete's sake. They're in on Luigi Mangione. Why can't they be in with Ellen? Why can't the feds take this case and investigate it? We see it will not be independently investigated within Pennsylvania. And I'm sad to say that. I lived in Philly, for Pete's sake. This is wrong. And until we get the U.S. attorney in that jurisdiction, Metcalf, involved, we're going to get more of the same. This is a huge blow to Lady Justice.
Well, Ellen Greenberg's parents are not at peace here. Look, they're not investigators, they're not lawyers, and I've dealt with a lot of heartbroken parents that don't want to accept reality, and that's not what I hear from these parents. These parents, to me, seem like parents that are after the truth and are truly after justice here. And I said I wanted to give my final thoughts, and I guess that is my final thought about this. And I would like to spend the rest of the time hearing from Sandy. Sandy, as you've wrestled with this and are now dealing with this new report and going forward, what is your mission and what is your objective in this as a mother?
Well, first of all, we're not giving up just because Philadelphia put its stamp on it and labeled it something that we don't think is so. And they can wait us out, they can drag us out. But after we're gone, there will be people in place to see this through. We are not going away. When the 911 call was made and the EMTs were called to Ellen and Sam's apartment, he went up with the stretcher, he came down right away, and he says, "You got a homicide up there." Then the Philadelphia Police Department get there along with Sam's mother and father and uncle and cousin. In the middle of a nor'easter, they're all there. And Sandy and Josh are home waiting and wondering what's going on. And we don't learn anything. They all got there, and then the police started doing they didn't mark the crime scene off. They didn't check the trash. They didn't get the time of death. They didn't take her temperature. What were they doing there all that time? But they're going to get pensions from the city of Philadelphia. They're going to go off to retirement. And when their children read about this case and find out that their parents were involved in this investigation, good luck.
Well, when there are so many open issues here for, Josh, for you and your wife as parents, it really disrupts the grief process. And I really hope that as we continue this fight, you can be able to say to yourself that justice has been done, which allows you to take all the energy you're having to use to fight this and put it into focusing on all the joy that you shared with her and all the wonderful memories that you had together. That's what I want for you at this point. And please know, I'm honored that you share your story with me, and I take very seriously this fight, and I'm committed to continuing this fight with you, just as Nancy is. I just pray that we get to the justice that you guys deserve and that Ellen deserves. I just want to thank Josh and Sandy for joining us. Nancy, thank you. And everybody be sure and watch Nancy on Crime Stories. And she is the author of What Happened to Ellen, An American Miscarriage of Justice. Be sure to check out the Greenbergs' Facebook page, Justice for Ellen, if you'd like to show them some support. They also have a GoFundMe. You can search their name on the website if you want to support them as they continue to fight for justice for their daughter, because it's not easy. I appreciate everyone for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
God bless and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.